of the day. This next weather alert is due to multiple threats that we'll be tracking: flooding rainfall, which we're seeing right now, and then also a developing concern for some damaging winds and possibly even some hail and an isolated tornado. Pretty much now through 8 o'clock is when we'll see this threat, but the greatest threat will be between 2 and 8 o'clock this evening. And because of this severe weather, we may see some tree damage, certainly some flash flooding, and also the concern for some power outages. A severe thunderstorm watch just issued for most of the area until 8 o'clock. This does exclude Cape May County, but most of us looking at this potential for severe storms. We're beginning to see the heavy rainfall of round 1 move through. In fact, a flash flood warning was just issued for portions of Lehigh and Northampton County. That goes until 8 o'clock this evening. Heavy rainfall will continue to fall over the region, producing that concern for flash flooding. So we'll continue to monitor this for you. We're going to continue this coverage right now on our stream. Otherwise, we'll be back here in 1 hour with another live update. Stay safe. All right, those of you watching on the stream, let's get back to talking about this coverage here as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Let's zoom back out. Let me show you the map here, and we'll focus in on exactly what we're going to be tracking, where again, this next weather alert is going to carry us through the rest of the afternoon into this evening, looking at flooding rainfall, which we are seeing right now, damaging wind. I think we see a better chance of seeing that through the second half of the afternoon into the evening, and then also your other severe weather hazards, hail, and maybe an isolated tornado, though I'll tell you that tornado threat does look small, but it's not zero. Flooding, I think, will be the greatest issue that we see with these storms as we head through the next several hours. Let's do a radar tour here, and this is just the big picture. And this is round 1. I do expect at least 2 rounds of this heavy rainfall and along with some gusty winds. So the blue polygon that you see right there, that is a flash flood warning that was just issued. So this is for Lehigh County. It's for Monroe County, technically, and also Northampton County. That flash flood warning will remain in effect until 8 o'clock, but we also have some other heavy rain producers moving through portions of Upper Makefield right here, and that is pushing to the north. So Trenton, Bordentown, down into Levittown, you saw that storm, and now it's moving out of the area with more rain up to the north and west. There's our flash flood warning for Lehigh, Northampton County that goes until 8 o'clock, and that's all because of this very heavy rainfall that is working through the area. And you can see a lot of lightning as well. So it's not just a heavy rain threat or really a gusty wind threat, which we're not seeing the severe gust at this point, but we're also finding just a lot of lightning embedded within some of these storms. And some of the lightning is actually formed before the rain has even started. So this is one of those days where if you hear thunder, it's a good idea to get inside, even if it's not raining. Get inside and wait for that thunder to stop. Again, we will see a couple of rounds of this severe weather as we go through the rest of the afternoon. So it's not one of those cases where, oh, the rain stopped, the thunder has stopped, up, we're good for the rest of the day. We're going to have to keep our weather wits, or I like to say weather antennas, up today, because we could see multiple rounds of this significant threat. Looking at the radar here, and this is something that we don't usually show you, but it's certainly relevant today. This is the precipitation rate. So this is where the radar is able to scan the rain and scan the storm system, and it's able to estimate at what rate the rainfall is coming down. And the most recent analysis has shown that 4 to 5 inch rainfall rates here. So basically saying, if that storm were just to sit over the same area for an hour, it would produce 4 to 5 inches of rainfall. So this is the kind of storm that we're working with, a very tropical-like atmosphere, a lot of moisture in the air, and you can feel that in humidity this afternoon. And all of that is being pulled up into these storms and then ultimately allowed to precipitate, and it's getting a lot of precipitation as the storms will be moving through the area. So this is just back closer to the Philadelphia area, West Philly, back into Delco, Chester County, finding a couple of at least initial light showers moving in, up into the Pottstown area, some light to moderate showers right now, a couple of strikes of lightning also. But at least for this first round, currently the heaviest rainfall is moving through the Lehigh Valley and then off into the really southeastern Pennsylvania. Jersey, we'll get our our heavy rain later this afternoon. Pretty much the entire area except for Cumberland County, Atlantic County, and Cape May County has a flood watch that will remain in effect through tomorrow afternoon. The Lehigh Valley, this flood watch goes until 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Meanwhile, the rest of the Philadelphia area, the I-95 corridor, the flood watch will go until 2 o'clock. Now, maybe they'll cancel it early, but right now we sort of have to just cover the span of where we could see this potential flooding risk. Because even after the severe weather threat dies down into the first half of the overnight, we'll continue with a chance for a couple of pop-up showers through the day tomorrow. That could just sort of be that extra little bit, kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back for the potential for some more flooding tomorrow. Let's talk about the excessive rainfall outlook. This is a product that the Weather Prediction Center issues every day, and where they highlight areas that have the greatest potential for receiving excessive rainfall, aka flash flooding. Right, and just depending on the atmospheric conditions and also based upon the conditions, the soil conditions as well, we have to look at how much rainfall can the ground handle or any sort of urban setting handle before we get rainfall. And this is an unusually high risk for our region, a level 3 out of 4 risk, so a moderate risk for this excessive rainfall and that flash flood threat through much of the 95 corridor from Philly into the New York area. Think back to just last week where we had a lot of flash flooding and it overwhelmed the subway systems in New York, and we could see a similar situation today with this heavy rainfall. A level 2 out of 4 risk for the flash flooding into much of South Jersey and then back into Delaware and Maryland, but that 3 out of 4 risk is a pretty high risk for the flash flooding in our neck of the woods. Now that's the rainfall risk, and now the Storm Prediction Center, they issue this convective outlook, and this is where we say, all right, who's got the greatest threat for severe storms? And that would be pretty much the 78 corridor south. So Philadelphia included in that, all of our shore points down into Delaware, Wilmington, and obviously farther south from there as well, where we've got this slight risk, level 2 out of 5 threat for severe storms. But really the entire area, including the Lehigh Valley and up into the Poconos, has at least a possibility of seeing some potentially damaging winds with that. Here's the forecast model here. So this is starting off right at the top of the hour here. So we're 12 minutes in, 1:12 right now. And the forecast model is doing a pretty good job at initializing. So here's where our starting point is. So if our starting point looks good, then we have a pretty good idea that where we go from here is going to be fairly accurate in how the forecast model is handling this scenario. So here goes round 1. That will move through, I think, Philadelphia, or at least the Philadelphia area. See some of that heavy rain move through as we go through around 2 to 3 o'clock. Lehigh Valley continuing to deal with the heavy rain. Maybe some parts of South Jersey getting some spotty showers here. That will clear out. I think we see a little break as we go through 4 o'clock, but those breaks in the clouds will also allow for the sun to come through and heat things up a little bit more. And that will provide a little more instability to then tap into the spin in the atmosphere, or that shear, which could produce that severe and maybe even tornadic threat. So that'll be something to watch to see how the atmosphere responds after that break, after round 1 of the storms that are moving through now. Here comes the second round of storms, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. What time is that? That's the evening commute. And that's going to be a concern, especially with that flooding threat, even without the damaging wind threat, which could be relatively isolated. Certainly widespread heavy rain moving through our urban corridor. So from Wilmington to Philly up into the New York area, we could have not just interstates or local roads impacted by the heavy rainfall, but you might have some rail issues with this heavy rainfall and flooding. You got water on the tracks, so that train's not running. So that's going to be something to watch as we go through the evening commute. The good news, though, is that most of this is out of here by sunset. So it starts to clear the coast by around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We're going to sleep. We go into the overnight, and the severe threat's clearing out. So that's the good news, is you just don't want to be dealing with the severe threat into the overnight. Now, I mentioned the chance for some rain tomorrow. Going through tomorrow morning, I think we start with mostly sunny skies. There's going to be some energy spinning around that low pressure system that may bring us a few spotty afternoon isolated showers or storms tomorrow. And again, maybe that gives us an additional flooding threat tomorrow afternoon, but overall that looks to be a relatively minimal concern. We could see a couple of pop-up showers into Thursday as well. Right now, the two best days over the next 7 days will be Friday and Saturday. I guess literally and figuratively, right? Friday and Saturday, usually good days. Sunday, the chance for some storms returns and even some showers possible as we go into Monday as well. So next weather team, we are on it. We've got the whole team here for you today tracking this severe weather event. We'll be back here at the top of the hour, 2 o'clock, with another live update. We'll do it again at 3 o'clock. If you can't catch us then, we've got coverage on our website on cbsphiladelphia.com. Of course, we've got CBS Philadelphia at 4 o'clock with the whole team taking charge and keeping an eye on these storms and impacts that they will have on your neighborhood. I'm CBS Philadelphia meteorologist Grant Gilmore. Stay safe this afternoon.